Hello, this is BentlBuilds and welcome to Red River in City Skylines. I am Bentel building. Yeah, that's me. So last time we worked on the town of Small Rock, which will be the gateway town to the national park that we're going to be working on today. I am so excited about this. I think what I got done today looks super, super good. Definitely not the finished product, but a really good starting point. So the backstory on this is basically that a mining company came in and wanted to mine in those canyons. And the people in Small Rock and Red Bend were like, no, we don't want that. And the state government actually agreed because they could just smell all of the tourism dollars that they can make off of this area. So they started putting together plans to basically put this area into Rivertop State Park that's across the river. And that's when the National Park Service stepped in and said, no, we've got this covered. And Red River National Park was born. So, first of all, every national park has kind of an entry area, an entry gate, because you've got to pay to get in. National parks aren't free. And depending on the national park, the entry area varies in size. Like at Zion, it's a big, similar to this. There's like big booths with multiple lanes. But then at Black Canyon of the Gunnison National Park, it's just a little track in the road. So it really just depends on how popular the park is and stuff. So clearly, I anticipate this to be a very popular national park. And why wouldn't it be? I mean, look at those rocks and cliffs and canyons and all that cool stuff. So this road right here that goes up this canyon, these are going to be primarily for access to trails. There are going to be scenic drives, and you could definitely do these roads as a scenic drive, but the real scenic drive is what I'm going to start working on right here. So here's the thing with the scenic drive is I was really torn as I was doing it because I wanted to have this road connect the bottom part of the park and the top part of the park. But in order to do that, there was going to have to be a lot of road and a lot of switchbacks to handle the elevation because it's all super steep. Even in the spots that aren't cliffs, there's still really consistent elevation gain and a lot of it. So I didn't want to mess with the terrain too much, but to make it work, some of that did have to happen. And you can see here that as I'm going, I'm just kind of figuring it out as I go. I have like the basic idea of what path I want to take and I'm following the topography, but as I'm going, I'm trying to not have roads that are too steep and make sure it makes sense, basically. What I will say is that I am now more than ever disappointed that this is not a real place because this road would be fun as hell to drive on. Not even gonna lie. Like, it's just so windy and there's, hills. I think it would be super fun. But yeah, you can see though, I'm trying my best to work around the topography. And, I am taking some, liberties and letting the road go to places that it doesn't necessarily have to, just to make sure that, any part of the drive, you're getting a view. There will be not even a boring inch on this road. It will all be beautiful, gorgeous, amazing. It will blow the minds of anyone who enters the park or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, so We are getting close to the end. I pretty much have the road up to the top of the park. I'm going to bring it along the edges of some of the cliffs. Because now that it's at the top, the main focus on the top is going to be more camping and that kind of stuff. The bottom is going to be a lot more hiking, which makes sense, you know. And there will be some hiking trails on the top, but it's going to be a little more calm because it's a lot more flat. So you can see the road, even though there's a lot of it, I feel like it definitely works. And now we're going to do the part that I've been so excited about this whole time. The top entrance to the national park that goes under that bridge. I just love that little feature so much. I don't know why. I just think it adds so much character. So right here, I am putting a little state highway that will wind through and connect to the interstate. Later on, that'll get bigger because there will be a city that grows there, like a small city. That'll be kind of another gateway sort of town, just larger. And that city's going to also have a lot of agriculture in it. But there's definitely going to be some of the national park town kind of vibes there. So you can see this road goes up the canyon into the national park. I really gotta say, I'm just so proud of how that road turned out. I really like it. And now I'm working on the visitor center, the main gate to the national park. I played around with a couple options for this. When I went to Black Canyon of the Gunnison National Park, the visitor center there was like right on the edge of this cliff and the views were amazing. So I played around with that, but finally I decided it would just be better to have it more at the beginning, close to the entrance. Kind of like how it is at Zion National Park. So now I'm placing a bunch of trailheads. I'm a huge hiker. I really love hiking. And so looking at this map and looking at this terrain all throughout this build, I've just been like, oh, like that would be such a cool spot for like a lookout, like figuring out how to get a trail in there. But before I do that, I am going to put in some fences so that people can't get into the national park without paying because, it is nature and it's, supposed to be accessible to everyone, but also national parks cost money. So if you want in, you gotta help contribute, I think that's completely reasonable. And obviously this is a very impenetrable fence with it's logs, no one can get past that, not at all. Not even the sneakiest sneaky person. Anyway, so this trail right here, I kind of picture as being one of the more popular trails in this park. I call the canyon that it goes up into Hidden Canyon because it's the one that roads don't go to. It's only accessible by hike. And then, there's a couple hikes that, one goes up the canyon, one goes up kind of onto the edge like a viewpoint. This one goes up another canyon. I mean, really, just as I go, the main theme that you'll notice is that either it's going to a viewpoint or it's following the terrain up a canyon or something like that. Those are basically the two trails I do for all of this. This trail that I'm working on right here is also going to be one of the more famous trails at the park because of this section right here. It goes along the ridge where you can see both sides, like just amazing panoramic views, like the mountain is right in front of you. Super, super cool. This trail right here, I kind of did for more like the Daredevil kind of vibe. It's right along the edge of the cliff. I was kind of thinking about like Angel's Landing when I did that. I have never done Angel's Landing because I would fall. Honestly, I would rather not do that. So that's the idea for that. This trail here is gonna be like the granddaddy of all the trails, because this is the one that you would take to summit this mountain. And up at the top, I put a little shack for people to be like, hey, I did it. I did this cool thing. And then this trail right here goes up the, Little Brother Mountain. It's still a pretty mountain. It's just a little smaller. So that's definitely a popular trail as well. And then I'm doing a couple trails, along the edges of the cliffs, definitely lots of views. This one is going to be called Surprise Falls Trail because it doesn't look like it's a waterfall, but then when it rains and flash flooding happens, surprise, there's a waterfall. It's very clever. I'm very proud of that. But I am also doing a couple loop hikes. I generally am not a huge fan of loop hikes because I more like hiking to a destination, but some people like the nature walk vibe. But as you can see, I have named this mountain Lookout Mountain. I feel like that's a fairly appropriate name for it. And then this smaller mountain next to it is going to be called Battlement Peak. Something about it just kind of looks like sort of a fort to me. So that's why it's named that. And then the rest of these are going to be named, vaguely generic things like Eagle, Point, Vista, this, Pine, that. See right here, Surprise Falls. Still not over that. I think that was like a stroke of genius. Also, there have been a couple people who have commented on my TikToks, and they've been like, there would be so much flash flooding. So this is kind of a nod to that. They're like, yes, there would be. It happens. But, what are you gonna do? People are gonna live there anyway, because it's pretty. And honestly, a lot of national parks, especially in the Southwest, Zion, Arches, all of those areas, they'll get flash flood warnings, and you're supposed to be checking the weather to anticipate that, there could be late afternoon thunderstorms and things like that. So this, just like national parks in real life, it's going to require some personal responsibility to make sure you're safe. But there is, of course, also some safety sort of built into that. Anyway, so this is Kings Ridge. I talked about that one, the views on both sides. It's really, really cool. I don't know why I felt inclined to name every last one of these trails. As I was getting to the end, I was running out of ideas. But, I got so far in, I felt like it's got to be all or nothing. They either all have to have a name or none of them get to have a name. And I am not about to be leaving things unnamed. I really am proud of this. I think I want to fill in the bottoms of these canyons with a little more foliage. Just make them feel a little more full. And then definitely add in some campsites, that kind of stuff. I don't do that in this episode because I am busy working on some other stuff, but definitely expect that in a later episode. All right, so now I'm kind of scoping out where I want this state highway to go. And I decided I want it to connect up by Lumberton. Also, you'll notice as I put these in, I'm naming them SR, State Road, and then I give them a number. I am giving them numbers without any rhyme or reason. I am kind of thinking that as this build goes on, I might be able to figure out like a system and figure out like a better way to name everything. Oh, we had a little fire in there. Bummer. Anyway, that's how it's going to connect up. So the people of Lumberton, they are going to have some pretty solid access to the park, which is good for them. They deserve it. And then I am also going to hurry and put in the access to the interstate here. I originally was gonna kind of go for like a more free-flowing interchange, but I decided against it. I think it'll work better as a more traditional, just exit off. It's not going to be like an interchange, I can't think of a better way to explain that. But as you can see, pretty much after the highway, that road just goes straight on out into the desert. It's a boring drive after that. You've got, these amazing views. You're driving through the amazing mountains, and then boom, nothing. It's a bummer. But my methods for building these, I definitely think are a little unconventional, but it works. Just got to smooth it out. I think it looks really nice. I don't like to have the ramps be also part of the bridge if I can avoid it, but this is how things are looking. Not a lot of changes in the city, but the park is definitely coming along. Next time, I am gonna start working on the city on the other side of the river, where the big city is gonna go. We're gonna start growing, and it'll be really cool. And we'll probably do some more detailing in the national park in there too. So thanks for watching. See you next time.